Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Happy Friday, and not just any old Friday. Bank holiday weekend, I think, for many of us. So whatever you're up to this weekend, I hope you have a lovely, relaxing one. So what have you been up to? What's the weather like where you are? Today it's gone a little bit more overcast. It was really sunny yesterday. Once again, put my child in shorts, sent him to nursery, and now the weather's looking a little less bright than it was. So how are you all doing? Let me have a little look at the comments and see who's with us this morning. Let's say a quick hello. So we have Francis. Good morning. How are you doing? Are you okay today? So what are we doing today? Morning, Elaine. We are making our hematite rings. So on Monday, we made our earrings and our pendant. I've just opened the door to the postwoman and she's just complimented how beautiful my earrings and pendant are. So I was telling her all about us this morning and what we're going to be doing. So hopefully I've seen a few of you in the handmade group. I know Hannah and Linda have had an attempt at them and a beautiful one at that. So if you have done them, pop a little comment with a picture in the handmade group and let me see and admire all your work. Jan says, good morning. Where's your comment, Jan? Can I show you to the group? There you are. Hi there, Natalie and everyone from a sunny Western Supermare. It's always sunny there. Good morning, Karen. How are you doing? It's a bit dull weather-wise for Camille today. Good morning, Charlotte. How are you, my love? Are you okay? Good morning, Lynn. So very excited to be doing the rings with you today. I'm going to take you over to the website and I'm going to show you straight away. Obviously, they are the same pack as you would have purchased on Monday if you got them. So you're getting your either bundle of cabs or you can get the 4 cabs as well, which will do you the earrings, the pendant and the ring today. So let me take you over to the website and I will show you those wonderful offers that Simon's given us today. So if you go on to the usual wonderful website of totallybeads.co.uk, you can go into video tutorials and you can see today is the hematite rings. So you've got the offers still on, amazing bargain. You can get your 25 pieces for £9.99 or you can choose which colour you prefer and you can buy your 4 cabs with your wire included for £7.50. So I think, I'm not too sure which one I'll be doing today. I might do the bronzy one or one of these lovely mermaid pink ones. I can't decide. So they're your bargain offers today. Each of your kits will come with the colour choice of wire. We're using the 0.3mm and the 0.8 as well as your oval cabochons. So I'm sure you've already had a little look at that and you know what's there. But if you haven't, there's still some left, so do get them. Good morning, Jean. How are you doing? She says, good morning, everybody. Lovely and sunny here. Oh, well, it might pick up a bit here then later. Who knows? There you go. Lucy's sending you the link there so you can go and get your goodies. Lucy is mermaid and princess. Okay, shall we start and make progress on this lovely project then? So I'll take you down onto the mat and you'll see how lovely these look. Now, they are really gorgeous and shiny, so they do catch the light. Unfortunately, you are just getting my ring light there. But we've got a variety of choices of colour for you. So whichever set you've chosen, they're going to look lovely against that wire. And all we're going to do today is a very simple weave to match our pendants and our earrings. And we're going to be, you can do whatever you want with the design at the front. I'm just going to show you a very quick way of making that look pretty and securing that cabochon in the front. So you can see you've got a whole lot of lovely different variations on this design. So we will get started. Now, it is handy if you've got a ring mandrel, but if you haven't, don't worry. You could use your finger to shape it. You could even use a pen. All you need to do really is have an idea of what size you'd like to make it. Now, a quick and easy way, if you don't have a ring sizer, is you can take a little scrap of thread, fabric, even wire, whatever you want, or a tape measure, if you've got a tape measure. Pop it around the finger that you'd like to wear it on, and then just measure that against your ruler. And that's going to show us whereabout we need to do the weave on our shank. And the shank is this band that goes around. So you'll see they'll fit nicely on, providing you weave the size that you're after. I tend to wear these on my middle finger because the cabs are quite proud, quite prominent. So I think they look lovely on the middle. Lucy says it feels a little bit like winter in Milton Keynes today. Do you know, I just don't know what happened to the summer. It didn't stay for long. I think we had a couple of lovely, probably about 2 weeks here of lovely sunshine. And then that was it. Okay, so once you've measured your finger and you know roughly what size that you would like to make your band for your ring, all you're going to do is you're going to take your 0.8 wire and you need to cut 2 pieces about 8 or 9 inches. So you're using the 0.8 millimeter, and you might want to straighten that out. Now you can warm it up with your fingers, you can straighten it with a cloth. If you've got your nylon pliers, you can run it through there just to get any little kinks out in the wire. Don't have to be perfectly straight, but it's a little bit easier to work with if they can lie flat next to each other. Okay, so take your 0.3 and we're going to keep this on the reel again. I just think it's a little bit easier than measuring it out, but you'll notice you've got a little groove in the top of your reel. You can see that. So you can always take a piece out and pop it through there to stop it wiggling about. Okay, so on one of your lengths of your 0.8, we're going to work about, I'd say about 2 inches in, maybe 2.5 inches. Perfect. So we're going to start around here. And what we're going to do is we're going to position our 0.3 wire over that 0.8. And we're going to leave a little tail just to hold on to something. And we're going to wrap that round 3 times. And this is just going to anchor on our weaving wire. You can push those down together with your fingers. Make sure that when you wrap around that wire, that they're sitting neatly together. They're not overlapping. They're just sitting nice and neat together. Okay, so once you've secured that, you're going to take the other length at about 9 inches and you're going to position that next to this first wire. Again, we're starting about 2.5 inches in. So we position them together. And we're going to do our figure of 8 weave, and that's going to match the bail on our pendant and our earrings. But you can do any weave you want with this. If it's easier, if you prefer, you can just wrap over both of the wires. You might want to do 3 on the bottom and 1 over the top and keep repeating that process. but we're going to do today our figure of 8. So we're going up in between the wires and over that top one. And then we're going to wrap over that top one twice. You can keep pushing those little wraps together. Then we're coming underneath in between the 2 wires and we're wrapping twice over that bottom one. And that is what we're repeating. So it's a figure of 8 weave. We're going twice around the bottom, up through the middle, and twice over the top. And all you need to do is just keep pushing that down so those little wraps that we're doing are sitting nice together. And we want to try and keep these wires running close together as possible. So we don't want to open it out into the V shape like we did when we were doing the pendant. We just want them to come nicely together. So you might need to just keep repositioning them. So through the middle, around the bottom twice, up through the middle, and over those top ones twice. Keep pushing them down next to each other. Now when I'm weaving or wire wrapping, I tend to try and position the wire where I want it to go and put a little bend in it before I start to curl that around. And what I'm doing there is I'm just, the wire's got a little bit of like memory in it. So you're just laying it and positioning it where you want it to go. And that will make your wrapping a little bit neater and quite tight. So it's 2 around the bottom. Up through the middle. And 2 around the top. And just keep repositioning these wires so they're running nice and parallel alongside each other, and they're not, obviously when you're pulling the wire through they will start to widen out, you can see at the end, but that's fine. For where we're doing our band, we want it really the same thickness. So we're going to carry on with that, doing our 2 around the bottom, up through the middle, and 2 around the top. And we're going to weave for whatever length we got the circumference of our finger. So for me, my circumference that I wanted was about 6 centimeters. So I will weave just under 6 centimeters, maybe just over 5.5. So it should be looking like this. Can I get that to focus? Doesn't want to play, does it? What's in shot there that's making it not focus as lovely as it could do? I want you to see how beautiful, there we go, this 0.3 wire is. When you're using something as dainty as the 0.3, it makes the weave really delicate and intricate. Can you see? So that is going to be our main frame of the ring. That's going to be our shank. And we've just continued that pattern all the way along to the length that we want it at. We've still got these tail ends on, and that's fine. We're going to keep this tail end on. That's quite important if we can keep that end on, and that's why I keep it on the reel, so it saves me having to cut and restart and worry about running out. And so you don't have to do this figure of 8 weave. This one here I've done with 3 wraps around the bottom and 1 over the top. 3 wraps around the bottom and 1 over the top. And that looks quite pretty too. Or you could just wrap those 2 wires together all the way round. But I think if you do a weave, whichever one you choose to do, that will give it just that lovely little professional look. Okay, so when we have the length that we're after and we've finished our weaving, what we're going to do is we're going to, again, straighten these wires out a little bit, and we're going to trim off this first tail end. So when we started our weave, we popped a bit over the top to hold it in place. We're keeping the other end attached to the reel, but we're getting rid of this little bit here. So what you want to do is you want to take your cutters. Now make sure you're using the flat side of your cutters. You'll notice they kind of graduate in on one side and they're flush on the other. It's the flat side that we want to be using to make sure that we're cutting where we want to. So we're cutting that off, and then with our flat nose pliers, we are tucking that and squishing that very gently right in, because we don't want any little bits on our ring to catch on our fingers. We want that to feel nice. And I'm cutting that on what will be the outside of the band. So when our finger is inside the shank, there'll be nothing that will catch on us. Oh, thank you, Patricia. She says, your instructions are very clear, Natalie. You make everything very clear. Well, that's really good to know, Patricia, because I'm never quite sure, especially with wire work. You know, it's so intricate and can be quite fiddly for some people. I want to make sure I'm explaining just how easy it is to do. Okay, so we have our tail end still attached to our reel. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start to shape this. So if you are using your finger, you can start to bend this around now. If you have a mandrel, then use that. This mandrel isn't the best. It's great for sizing, but my mandrel's got a groove in the middle, so it's not rounded and domed all the way round. Now, it's good, this one, because it's got our UK sizes and European sizes and a US size as well. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, the average size for a lot of people is a size 7 in the US, which works out at about an O in the UK. But obviously everybody's fingers are very different. I've got very tiny, skinny fingers. I've had my wedding ring and my engagement ring remade and shaped multiple times to fit. Okay, so we're just going to start very gently bending our wire around so it gets into that lovely ring shank shape. So I'm not putting any big bends in it. I'm just curving it round gradually. And it is tricky because you've still got this tail end on, but that's okay, you'll need that soon. So position it on the size you want. If you're making this for someone and they tell you what size they are, then you can just start to position it like so. And you want this band to come all the way round to where it's going to be on show on the finger, like this. But don't worry if it doesn't quite meet that wrap in the middle. I tend to wrap just slightly shorter than what I need to. So as I said, if I'm looking to do about 6 centimeters, I'll usually wrap for about 5.5 centimeters, and this will give me 2 of our sides, shall we say, of the wire, which are bare, that they haven't been wrapped on at the moment. So when you've got the shape that you're after, take your tail end, and I would cut, you probably won't need it, but to be on the safe side, maybe 10-11 inches. We can always get rid of it if we've got too much, but rather have too much than too little. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 0.3 and we're going to use this tail end to bind both of these together. So at the moment, you can start on whatever side, so if you need to turn it round, that's fine. At the moment, mine's finished on this top 0.8 wire. Can you see that these bits are in the way at the moment? And it's coming underneath these two wires that are running parallel. So we're going to take that wire and we're going to hold our ring so they're sitting nice and flush next to each other. So you can put a little curve in that if you want to. You might want to keep popping it back on your mandrel or on your finger just to check it's the size that you want. But we're going to bring this wire underneath or through the middle of our ring, and we're going to wrap that over the top. So we're securing all of those 4 wires together. And we're going to keep doing that. Try and make them nice and flush so they're sitting next to each other. They're not wrapping over the top of each other. And we're just bringing that wire through and over, through the middle and over the top. And you can still keep pinching them down so they're next to each other. Turn it this way for you if that helps. So you're bringing it through and over and through. Patricia says, what can you use if you don't have a mandrel, please? Patricia, you could use, you can use your finger, shape it on your finger, because you're taking it off the mandrel anyway when you're wrapping. You could use anything which is small and cylindrical, I suppose. So if you've got a pen, which is a similar size, like a little marker. I've seen people use like little wooden dowels. They look like the innards of, what you'd put maybe your toilet roll on or something like that. You can use anything really. The first rings I used to make, I used to just shape them on my own hand and on my finger. But obviously when you're making for other people or you're making custom orders, it is handy to have a ring mandrel. Though you'll be surprised, not many people know their ring size. And I think obviously maybe lockdowns to blame, but a lot of fingers have changed sizes. You can buy little mandrels which also come with a ring size, but if you're wanting to know what size your finger is, then as I say, take a little piece of your scrap wire or a piece of, this is just a bit of rat tail, and position it around the finger that you want it to go on, and then measure that against your ruler. Or if you've got a tape measure, pop a tape measure around your finger and you'll know that way then how long you need to weave for. So you're wrapping that wire round all the way until it meets the other end where we've got our weave. So it should look like this. And this is what our cabochon is going to sit on. Now again, a cabochon is a stone with a flat back, and that makes it lovely to work with. Now if you want, you can squeeze these ever so gently in with your pliers to neaten that up, and see if you need to add any extra on there. Sometimes you will find these wires move a little bit, so you might want to check it on your mandrel again, that it's the size that you're after. And don't worry if it's slightly larger than you wanted it to be, because when we do our curls to secure it at the end, that can sometimes use a little bit of space up as well. So if you're happy that it fits, what you can do now is take this wire, this 0.3, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to secure that on by just wrapping it on one of these ends. So I'm opening up these two wires on the side where this wire finishes ever so slightly, and I'm going to take this wire, I'm going to put it in between, and I'm going to wrap it round this first one, the one closest to it, and I'm just going to wrap that round 3 times, using my fingernail to push them in a little bit, and I'm going to trim that off. So we did have quite a lot extra than what we needed, so I was probably being a bit overzealous with my estimation, but as I say, I'd rather use a little bit more than not have enough. So trim that wire off, and make sure when we're trimming it, it's finishing on top, because our cabochon is going to sit here, so it won't be against the finger. So we're just getting that little tail end and just ever so gently flattening that down against the wire. If you want to, if you've got nylon jaw pliers, you can give that a little gentle push together. Or if you want, you could always use your pliers if you haven't got the nylon ones. The nylon ones will just stop anything scratching. So your ring is now looking like this. And I'm thinking when you get to this stage, you're going to be pretty impressed with yourself, how professional this looks. And now this is the fun bit. So you're going to take your cabochon. If you've bought the pack with the 4 in, I mean, you can use whichever size you want, but we've picked these ones out for you. So the larger one we've used for the pendant, the 2 matching smaller ones for your earrings. So you're going for this middle-sized one here. And we're just going to position that cab on top of where you want it to be. So I'm just going to hold it down with my thumb and my finger just so I can show you, because this is the fiddly bit. It's really easy to do, but it's a little bit difficult to show you because my fingers will get in the way while I'm holding onto that cab. So you want to position it in the middle, and you want it so when it sits on your finger, it's running upwards, not sitting slightly to the side. Though to be fair, it might look quite nice on an angle. It's entirely up to you. So when you've got your cab in position, we're going to bring these 2 wires up together. And on the other side, we're going to do the same. So what I want to do is I want to run these wires over the top. Just going to move them slightly so they're going in the right direction. So I'm bringing the 2 on one side right over the middle, and 2 on the other side right over the middle. So it should look like this. If you took your cab out, you've made this little shape. So your cabochon's going to fit in the middle there. Now using your thumb, hold it down in place. And what I'm going to do is this top wire, I'm just going to bring out and bend upwards to the top of that cabochon. So it looks like this. And I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to position my thumb over the top to hold it in place. The outside wire on this side, I'm going to gently bend over so it's coming in this direction. So you can already see my cab is starting to hold in place already. It's not secured yet, can fall out this side, but we've started to secure that in already. And it's entirely up to you now what you start to do with this design and the pattern. Providing you've got something running across and over this way, it's going to hold in place. So I'm going to turn that upside down, and I'm going to continue to bring this wire up, and I'm going to secure it in place by bending that around this side of the shank. I'm keeping a bit of pressure between the bottom of the cab and the top because I don't really want those wires to move too much at the top. But I'm just bringing that little length around so it sits nice and tight around the top of our ring shank. And if you want, you can use your pliers to bend that down a little bit. You can even move your cab out if you want to, and you can bring that slightly together. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So cab back in, bring in this one around the ring. If you want to, you can use your round nose just to get that kind of bent in position. And we're bringing that around the shank like this. Can we get that to focus? So just brought those wires round. Okay. Pop the cab back in. Get it in the position you want it. Now it's up to you. I tend to wrap this round twice on both sides, just to give it that extra security. Now you can trim off, if you want to, that little excess and make sure you're sticking it down, or you can curl this little wire too. So if I can show you on this one, I've curled those end bits a little bit just to give it a bit of detail. If you're going to curl it, all you need to do is trim a little bit off, and with your round nose pliers start to bring that in. All you need to make sure you're doing when you're curling this is that this wire isn't sticking up like that, because we don't want it to catch on anything. So you need to make sure that your curl is going all the way into itself, if that makes sense. And if you want to, you can flatten that down with your pliers to make sure that that's nicely tucked in and you've got that little loop. Run it over your finger over it very gently, just to check it's not sticking up and it's not catching on anything. So on this side, we've done it once. We're going to bring it through again. And then we'd either cut off here and flatten that down, or you can put a curl in it, whichever you prefer. I'm going to put a curl in this one again, just because I have done on that side. So make sure your cab's where it wants to be. Make sure these wires are nice and tight. It's falling out at the minute because we've not secured it around the top, just the sides. So I'm going to trim the end off, leaving a little bit which is long enough for me to get my pliers on the very end and start to curl that round. This is very easy to do, but sometimes I do struggle to make sure I'm not covering it over too much with my fingers so you can see what I'm doing. Make sure that little curl is tucked in. It's not going to catch on anything. I'm going to take that cab out for now and push that flat. Oh, Charlotte, thank you so much for the stars. That's lovely of you. I'm just going to have a little look through the questions. I've got Carol asking, do they do round nose nylon coated pliers? Do you know, I'm sure they probably do, Carol. I've not got them. What you can do is you can get, it's like a plastic dip, like a putty. It comes in a pot and you just dip them in and then take them out and dry, and that leaves like a plastic coating around whatever you've dipped in. So that would work. You could use that. You could even use a bit of tape if you wanted to. Lucy says she's not seen any before. Carol says, I think I would need some of Sarah's extra fingers. You don't need extra fingers. The ones you've got, I'm sure, would do just fine. It can be fiddly. It's just me showing you that is making it look fiddly. If you're doing this yourself and you're not holding it in front of a camera and you've not got people watching you, it's fine. It's really simple to do. Okay, so our cab is in at the moment, but it is coming in and out of the top because we haven't secured these ones. So there's a few different ways you can do this. You can hold your stone back where you want it to be, and we're going to bring these wires up and over, and again on the other side, bringing that wire over. And you can either curl them together or you can curl them around the shank as well. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to curl them together just to show you, because you've seen how to secure your wire around the sides. So you could do that, bringing this one around there, this one around there. Or you can put your wire over the middle, keep making sure that it's in the position that you want. I often think it's quite nice to have it where it's coming up slightly higher on one side, and then it gives you kind of a which way round you might want it to wear it. But if you want it dead central, just make sure that you keep checking that's in place and it's in line. So I'm going to just for now bring this little wire just slightly out of the way. And I'm going to bring this one, which is coming over the top of one side, round the back. I'm going to push that down a little bit so it's nice and flush. And I'm going to cut off probably just maybe 1/2 centimetre over the edge of the cabochon. So I've got a tiny little bit over there, and I'm going to make this into a curl. So I'm taking my round nose pliers and I'm starting to curl this round and making sure that those little ends, so the curl meets itself, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to take the other one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that through this little loop. So where my loop is, that I've just made that little curl, I'm going to bring this one through. And I'm using my round nose pliers with this, just to keep guiding that round until that wire is really quite taut. So this top one on this side is just come over the top, and I'm just gently twisting so this is coming nice and flush. And then all you need to do is trim that tail end off and finish this as a curl as well. So I'm turning that in. And now you've got to make sure that this is nice and flat. It's nice and secure, but also it's going to sit flat against that cabochon, because we don't want that running and hitting your finger. And that is it. You can do all sorts of different designs with that. So I'm putting it on. I'm going to check that that's sitting fairly parallel. It's running up the middle. And it's nice and secure. It's not going to fall off. And it doesn't feel like there's any sharp bits there that's going to catch against my skin. So as I say, there's lots of different designs you can do. Here on this one, I've brought the wires that were running up this way, all the way over again, round the side of the cabochon, and I've done my curls on the front. And that's not going to catch on anything there either. This one is the same as what I've just done. So there's no curls on that one. And this one, I've just brought the wire over a couple of extra times, because you're cutting to begin with that 8 or 9 inches. That's going to give you enough either side of your weave when we've started. So this is why we start about 2.5 inches in when we start to weave our shank, because those bits can then become decorative over the top. So you can do the curls with it. This one's got curls on both. So the wires that were running up over the top, I've brought right across that back again. So rather than secure them at the back, I've just brought them right round. And I think that looks really lovely actually with the curls on the front. I just wanted to show you a simple and easy little method. But I do think they look beautiful. And I do think they match the pendants and the earrings really nicely too. Regardless of what design you choose, because you've got the same cabochons running through your whole jewellery set, that's going to be a lovely match, and they're going to complement each other lovely. And that's why when it comes to the rings, you can be that little bit more creative. You can do whatever swirls you want. You don't have to do swirls at all if you want something which just looks a little bit more maybe elegant, sleek, sophisticated. I just think they're really pretty. And that's how easy it is. Obviously, I did a little bit of the weaving of the band in advance of today's tutorial, because once you've seen that process, and it's the same process of what we did with the veils, you're just watching the same thing over and over again. But considering I did that, that took us what? Half an hour, 40 minutes? You'll be able to do them really quickly. And the more you do, the more practice you get at it, the neater those bands are going to be, the shank on your ring, and the lovelier they will become, and the happier you'll be with them as well. So as you can see, with the bargains that you get in today, it really is worth getting, I think, the bundle, because I think you're going to want to make quite a few. But if you just want to get that pack of 4, that's going to give you the full lovely set. So I've got my pendant on, got my earrings on, and I've got my ring on too now. So that's it for today. Short but sweet. What are we doing next week? We've got quite a few different things on next week. We've got I'm with you all next week. Lucky you. So bank holiday Monday, we're still going to be here. See, I've not worked a bank holiday in, I can't remember. But when you do something you love, it doesn't feel like a job, does it? It doesn't feel like work. So yeah, happy to be with you on Monday. We're going to be doing some home interior design on Monday. Wednesday, I've got some lovely jewellery, another set for you. That will be wire work. And on Friday, I'm with you as well. And we're going to be using some beautiful fire agate. and using tiger tail. There'll be no wire work on the Friday. So if that's not your thing, then if you don't like wire, that's fine. There'll be something for everyone next week. So it's a jam-packed week. I'm really excited about it. So we're just going to go through the comments so I could see what you've all been up to. Oh, you're all being very complimentary. Thank you so much. I just appreciate you being here and watching with me. I know you've probably got lots of other things to do. So the fact that you spend your time with me every morning is just a blessing for me. So thank you. Thank you, Carol. Charlotte, are you off to bed now? She says, beautiful rings. Love the beautiful rings. I don't know what time it is where you are, Charlotte. It must be night time, surely. Lucy says they're very gorgeous. Thank you, Lucy. Karen likes them too. Well, that's nice. I think everybody likes them. I hope everybody wants to give them a go as well, though. Margaret says, thank you, Natalie. Looks super. Need to go water the garden again. I don't think I'm going to need to water the garden. My son watered it endlessly yesterday while cleaning his tractor and polishing his slide, and he loves wandering around with his watering can. But I think the weather today is going to water the garden for me, so I don't think I'll need to. Lucy's ordered the bundle she couldn't resist. Lucy, you're going to have to show me what you've made. I know, I think, as I say, Hannah and Linda have both posted in the group their makes for the earrings and the pendant. So I'm very looking forward to seeing if they give the ring a go as well today. Pamela is saying sweet dreams to Charlotte. So yeah, you must be off to bed now. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really glad that you think the tutorials are clear. You know, I'm still new to doing the tutorial, so I'm hoping I get a little bit better each time. It's 12 a.m. Okay, Charlotte. Well, I don't imagine you'll be having a bank holiday where you are, will you, Charlotte? But Sharon said that you can get nylon coated pliers. So, I mean, I don't feel like I need them, but I suppose depending on what I'm doing when I'm making curls and swirls on things, it's nice if you can make sure you're not making little dinks in your wire. You can always polish them out afterwards, depending on the type of wire that you're using. But I think it adds a little bit of character, doesn't it? What is the saying? A deliberate mistake. So I think it just adds a little bit of uniqueness to each one, providing it's not going to catch. I think you just go with it and just enjoy what you're doing. And Lucy says she's definitely going to give the whole set a go. Just takes me a little time to get around to it. That's because, Lucy, you have every project going and you do all the bead clubs and everything else. I think you I always say you must have just as much stock as Totally Beads does. So when you do get round to it, let me see what you've done. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining. Oh, wait a minute. Ruth said something which I think you'll all need to know. Nylon coated pliers are awesome. Never thought you would use them. So there you go. Top tip from Ruth. If you can get them, do get them, but it's not a necessity. Okay, my lovelies, it's been lovely to spend time with you today. Very excited to see you lots and lots next week. So hope you can join me, whatever you're doing over the bank holiday weekend or just the weekend. If you've not got a bank holiday, I hope it's a lovely one for you. Okay, love and light to you all. Take care. Bye.